Hello, good evening. It's Dr. Marguerite here, and we are live for our session this week, all about how to stress less. Yay! So, I think I must have been feeling a tiny bit stressed when I was thinking, it'd be nice to have a session on this because it'd be nice to share some of the thoughts and ideas and what goes on when we get very stressed out and how we even get into these situations because it just happens to most of us most of the time, really, doesn't it? So I thought it'd be really great to have a bit of a live session on this one. So if you're joining me live for this one, I would love it if you could come in and say hello, so I know you're here and I know who I am talking to, which is always nice. If you're watching this on the replay, it is still fine to leave your comments, say hello, say hi, I'm watching this on the replay, because I know life is busy. We don't always have time to come to these things live, and it is absolutely fine. And if you are watching this and think, gosh, I really think someone else that I know should watch this, they would really benefit, do feel free to share it with them, even if that means inviting them into this closed group. Everybody who's a member in this group, as things stand at the moment, I have set it up so that you can invite your friends to come to this group. So hello, Kirsty. Hi, Rob. Great to see you. Carol is here. Hello, Carol saying, I hope you've had a nice day. I've had a lovely day, Carol. I have seen some lovely, lovely clients today, and it is just such a pleasure to be able to work with really gorgeous people. So yeah, I do consider myself very lucky, and it's been great. So David is here. Hi, David. I think you've just joined us today, haven't you? It's lovely. Thank you for joining us. It's great. So the thing is, I will just say this up front. When I've been working live, so I'm based at my dining table in my home today because I couldn't really face staying in the clinic till really late at night. I just thought that doesn't feel good. I'll come home, give my dogs a cuddle, and kind of do the video from here. But we have just changed internet provider, and for some reason it keeps cutting in and out. It should be absolutely fine, but if for any reason we get cut off, please just kind of hang in there, and I will just simply end. If it starts kind of being weird, I'll just end this video and we'll start one again straight away. So fear not, we will talk about everything we need to talk about, but it might have to happen in one or two pieces possibly. So if that happens, just bear with me and we'll kind of come straight back. So come and say hello. And I decided to kind of do a bit of a session on stress. And I think, in fact, now that I've kind of, when I was kind of writing all my notes for this session, I was thinking actually it might be quite nice to do a little bit of a focus on this really huge area that has such an impact on our health. The more I work with my clients, I work with my clients doing health coaching and also the functional medicine bits. And the more I do of this kind of work, the more I kind of realize, my goodness, this stress, the stress stuff, and it comes in so many disguises. Sometimes it's things we don't always think of. Oh, that's stress. So it's a really interesting thing, and it has huge impacts on our health, huge consequences actually, kind of when the stress goes on for a long time and it kind of becomes chronic stress, and it kind of, and we tend to normalize a lot of this stuff as well. So, I think, so hopefully some of the examples I'm going to give you this evening of, the kind of 5 top areas where I see people getting really stuck in stress. Yeah, I guess that's what I wanted to share with you, because I think we all get the kind of stress that's like, have to go and speak in front of a crowd of people. Oh, that's scary, that's stressful. We get that kind of thing, don't we? Or, if you have teenagers who are about to sit exams and stuff, and we all get that kind of stress, don't we? And kind of, difficult as it is to kind of work with that stuff. But actually, it's when it becomes chronic and it really starts to kind of take a toehold in our life and it becomes kind of your normal, that's when it really starts to have these huge impacts. And I just really wanted to throw the spotlight on all of that stuff tonight, and just get a bit of a check in where you guys are with all of this. So as you are all joining, it's gorgeous you're coming to say hello. So Rachel's here, Christina's joined, Kate is here. Hello, Kate. And Jackie, hello from Jersey. Great. We are on a Thursday, Jackie. So it's great. Lizzie's here. Oh, wonderful. It's so nice and Christine, so nice that so many of you are here to come. So as always, the rules of these live session rules are that, it's relaxed. The idea is it's a conversation. I will do my very best. If you see me doing this, like this. Down here is where my screen shows all the comments. So if I sort of look as if I'm doing that a bit, that's my concentration face, that's my reading face, and and so that's what we're going to be kind of doing. So Carol is saying, I think I have IBS and arthritis. Oh my goodness, honey. And it makes you tight. Absolutely. I bet it does. So, okay. So the topic of the evening is talking about stress. But as I say, do feel free. It's a conversation. If there's stuff that I'm talking about or it brings something up for you, feel absolutely free to type into the chat box, and I will do my best to answer, to kind of, help give you some insights or whatever. I'm really happy to do all of that. So, and Karen is here. Hello, Karen. How's your new job, honey? You had your first day, didn't you, today? I think if I followed the posts correctly, that would have been day 1 today, or maybe day 2. It would be great. So cool. So yeah. So the thing about stress is that bit of acute stress here and there, a little bit of chronic stress here and there. That's okay. We can weather that out. But when the chronic stress starts to take a toehold, and for those of you who are joining me, who are currently on my Sass Your Sugar Live Your Life program, we are having a huge deep dive this week into chronic stress. So this one is right up your street. But it is not for the faint-hearted, this chronic stress. It genuinely has huge impacts on our health. And I see this in my work over and over again. It pulls down our gut health. It drives inflammation. It makes you put on a cortisol belly. It affects your immune system, so you get sicker quicker and you don't recover as well. And it affects your resiliency and your ability to recover from things. It affects your mood. It makes you depressed and irritable and fractious. And all of this we normalize, and it makes you tired. So all of it we normalize like crazy. And so these are kind of, and at some point I'll do a big live on session on all of that, on all the kind of consequences of it and why it happens, so you can really understand it. But suffice it to say, these are the consequences of staying stuck in chronic stress. And the other thing about staying stuck in chronic stress is that the body has this really clever mechanism where once we get into sort of acute stress, and then the body goes, hang on a minute, I can't keep pulsing out this acute stress response. Do you know what? I'm going to change gear and go to chronic stress response. Hello, chronic stress response. Once the body goes into that place, this is where all these things start to happen that I've just described, this whole long list. And actually it starts to just slowly pull your health down like there is no tomorrow. So, we don't want to stay stuck there. And yet a lot of it we normalize. We think it's normal to be tired all the time. We think it's normal to be, have IBS or gut health that isn't quite ship shape. Or we think it's normal, that when we get very stressed and we go on holiday, we get sick. We think it's normal, but it's not really. So, cool. I hear what you're saying, Carol. Thank you. Rachel saying, I started to have my CBT for OCD yesterday and trying to lish forward. This is an ideal session for me, I think. Brilliant, darling. So yeah, I think all of us, the whole stress thing, it happens to all of us. No one is immune. We all get versions of it. For some of us, it's more one particular shape or the other, but it's fine. So what I'd love to share with you this evening is I really want to talk to you about some of the kind of things that we might not even think about as kind of source, like chronic stress, but actually they really are. And not only that, they are things that, we have really quite a lot of power to be able to kind of show up to that stuff differently, and therefore start to really help ourselves with our health. And I know that you are all here because you want to be empowered in your health. You want shape, shiny health. And also you are the kind of people who want to know what to do so you can help yourself. And I love that about each and every one of you. That idea of like, show me what I can do to help myself is so close to my heart, because for one thing, it makes us feel powerful instead of feeling hopeless and out of control. So it's important. But also it means, it says a lot about you guys, actually, and I love that. So I've got my reading face on again. Karen Rayburn is here. Good evening. Rachel's saying push forward. Brilliant. Okay, cool. So what I really want to focus on, and I'm going to get into that now, is that I'm going to talk about sort of 5 key kind of patterns of chronic stress that I commonly see in people that I work with. It's something I've certainly managed to do myself as well. So I know it from the personal angle as well as from my work, from what I see in my work. And perhaps some of the things that you can start to do to kind of perhaps just pull back from that, and sometimes, the thing with stress that I think I often hear is that people say, well, I don't have a choice, I just have to do this really busy, intense thing that I do. I don't have a choice. And I want to just start to show you maybe that sometimes just shifting a little bit on things actually over time can create big results. For those of you who work with me regularly, for those of you who are my current Sasha Sugar program, and those of you who've been on the past versions of Sugar program, I talk about this thing that if you do what you always did, you kind of keep moving that way. If you change just 2 degrees, you don't have to do a huge, you can just change 2 degrees, and then over time, just that little change, that little shift will kind of create that. I'm not doing that right. So, but you get what I'm saying. Yeah. So, by tomorrow, it might not make a huge difference. By next week, maybe not noticeable, but by next month, sure. By the 3 months time, absolutely. So always worth starting off making little shifts. And I really want to show you some little shifts that you can all kind of like little tools that you can start to kind of take away from today. So hopefully that will give you some ideas of things you can do. So the many forms of stress. So there's the kind of external stuff, like stuff that happens to you, but there's also the internal stress. So the things that we and that's things like the expectations that we have of ourselves, where we should be, say, being a perfectionist, or, I should be performing at this level. That's an internal form of stress. So external, internal, interesting concept, I always think. Then there's the things that we can control versus the things that we can't control or do anything about. Okay. And then there's the kind of, the unexpected kind of curveballs kind of stress, like, getting sick, or someone close to you has a big life thing going on, or, that kind of stress versus, the kind of chronic stress where it's just intense, it's overwhelming, and that is just how it is every single day. And that's not curveballs, that is just chronic stress that just goes on. So you can kind of see that it has so many different shapes and sizes. And I think this is kind of what makes this a really interesting area. So, so let's get on to these kind of the top sort of 5 kind of areas of stress that I commonly see. So, okay, just before we do that, right now, I think we've got about 11 people on this call at the moment, which is great. So I want to hear from you guys. If you had to say where your stress levels are right now, in terms of 0 being no stress whatsoever, and 10 being like, the most stressed out you've ever felt in your life, where do you think you're sitting at the moment? And just pop a number in the comment box and then hit the return key, and that will wing its way over to me. And I'm going to have a little sip of water. Just want you guys just to kind of just give me a little sense of where you are with things. So Carol's saying, we lost a friend. Yeah, so that's really stressful, and it's a curveball, isn't it? You can't do anything about that. So Kerry's saying I'm an 8. Yeah, cool. Karen is 7. Okay, yeah. Cool. So let's have some of these numbers. Kate's saying 8. Karen's saying 7 or 8. Kirsty's saying 5. Yeah, 8. Christine's saying 6. Yeah, so that's about half of us have answered. Come on, the rest of you. I want your numbers. I know sometimes people really like to just kind of sit quietly in the background, don't we, and not take part. I want you to take part tonight. Carol is saying 10. Yeah, cool. So can you all see, like, everybody? I mean, I guess we're a sort of self-selected audience, aren't we? So I'll share my number. So I think my number probably at the moment is about 4. And I've had to learn. Some of you who know my story, you'll know that, and I've shared this lots of times, so it's no secret. I managed to get, completely crash out and burn after years and years and years of chronic stress, and I just didn't take care of it. I thought it was normal. I thought my job was just to be strong and run it, endure it. I thought that was my job. I thought I was doing the right thing by just grinning and bearing it, hunkering down, putting up with it, just keep putting one foot in front of the other. And I thought that was me doing the right thing. And it actually, to be honest with you, it just never occurred to me how sick it was making me. It wasn't until it all came crashing down, and then I had to rebuild my health up from the ground up, that I then realized, like, oh my God, I know stress doesn't make you feel good, but I just didn't ever really quite put it together, like just how sick it can make us and how much it can pull our health down. And honestly, so Rachel's saying 9, Jackie saying it was 9 this morning and it's 3 now. Woohoo! So cool. And Carol saying mornings are worse. Interesting. Yeah. So for some people, particular times of the day are harder work. And Rachel's saying I'm fighting the urge to check outside. Cool. So, but can you all see? So we are a self-selected audience, but I totally get where you are at the moment. You know, I've had a really gorgeous day in clinic today, but I had to. There was a lot of things that were kind of where I had to really be very sharp and really think on my feet a lot. And I find that, you know, that puts my stress levels up in a good kind of way. So there's good stress. You know, it's not all stress is bad for us, but it's that chronic stress when it sort of takes a hold and it just kind of, you know, you're in for the ride and it's just in there to stay. That's the bit that kind of we want to kind of start getting our heads around. So the 5 kind of common chronic stress patterns that I see over and over and over again. So number 1, overwhelm. Okay, so the idea of and Carrie is saying anytime with my family causes my stress levels to rise. Yeah, so there are things, aren't there, that kind of are real triggers for us, and sometimes it's particular people or particular situations, and you know, kind of in a way that's really already a great step to recognize actually where am I getting triggered, what's pushing me into that stress place, because you know that's your opportunity to kind of start thinking, okay, well, you know, how can I work with that? Could I perhaps minimize it in some way, or could I just kind of, okay, I'm armed and ready, you know, and you kind of have a different way of showing up. So, you know, getting out of being reactive and just getting into centering in those kind of situations, because that is often that reactivity that then drives the stress response to get even more sort of fueled up. So, and Carrie saying, my children are sensory overload. What for you? Or they are in sensory overload. Okay, saying levels are rising due to bad dreams, anxiety, and trying to quieten my mind over the last few days. Luckily, I've had a thick book to read for 2 hours at 1 a.m. this morning. Oh, my lordy, honey. Okay, so kind of bad sleep or interrupted sleep are huge. They are, you know, one of the causes of chronic stress that often we don't recognize as chronic stress. And actually, it wasn't one of the ones I was going to talk about today, but I'm really grateful to you, Kate, for bringing it up, because it's absolutely spot on. You know, when we don't sleep very well, either because we're waking up or we are sleeping, we're waking up just not feeling refreshed, or you know, we're sleeping in that kind of light, very, you know, having lots of bad dreams, and it's all very kind of, you know, and if you wear one of those Fitbitty type things, it often will show you that you've had lots of very light sleep and not much deep sleep. So all those kind of sleep disturbances can really cause a huge pressure on our stress system and really draw down our resources, and we have to work hard to kind of push them back up again. And Jackie's saying overwhelm. Yes. So let's talk about overwhelm. So overwhelm is the idea that, you know, this is where, you know, you have a to-do list, a running to-do list that you just never get to the bottom of. You know, at no point do you, in the day or in the week, do you get to the point where you go, right, it's all done, I can relax and sit back, I'm done. Yeah, that is kind of overwhelm. This pressure of always having something else that needs attending to, that is a form of overwhelm. Trying to do too much, trying to do 2 things at once, 3 things at once, you know, being on the phone, trying to sort out something, say work related, whilst you're driving your children around. That kind of multitasking, that is overwhelm. Okay, we are not designed to multitask, honest. Feeling like you've failed before you've even started. Now, this is one I can really relate to. I can really remember clearly every day I would turn up to my lovely GP practice where I used to work when I worked full-time I worked 3/4 time in the NHS, but I think it equated to something like about 40 hours a week. And to say that that, you know, I used to start the day feeling like I had already failed. That is overwhelm right there. You know, feeling that all the things that you know you've got to do and attend to and manage and kind of sort out, like, you know, you already feel like you've kind of like you've failed before you've even started. You know it's going to be impossible. You know there's going to be too much to do. You have no hope of, ticking off all the jobs on your to-do list, or it's just overwhelm. That is overwhelm. Feeling like you're always firefighting, feeling like you're having to divide yourself into too many different areas, different pieces. That is overwhelm. And just too many commitments that have you scattered into too many different directions. So that feeling of being scattered, that is also overwhelm. Okay. And overwhelm is a huge source of chronic stress. Now, I'm not sure if this is kind of so Kate was just saying that might be an interesting purchase to see what my sleep pattern is. Yeah, and I don't think they are that expensive anymore, Kate. So it would be an interesting thing to see what is actually happening. Yeah, definitely. Jack is saying it says damn hot flushes that wake me in the night. Yeah, so hopefully, as people get hot flushes in the night for different reasons. I guess the probably most well-known one is, women who are kind of coming up to the menopause, but actually lots of us can get hot flushes for all sorts of other reasons. So one really big one being blood sugar levels that swing around a lot in the daytime and in the nighttime. And then what happens is that come the nighttime, when we start swinging them around, because so just to qualify that for a moment, in case there's anybody on here who's very medical, our blood sugar levels are very tightly controlled. But the work our body has to do that, keeping it very tightly controlled, that's what I'm talking about. So if your body has to work really hard all the time to keep those sugar levels controlled, it's working hard. And it can end up kind of causing restless sleep, causing bad dreams, that kind of thing. So that, and the way to stabilize that is basically to do good sugar detox work. It's one of the, these are the kind of pieces of work we do in Such a Sugar. And some of the, when people have come through the program, quite often they'll say, like, actually my sleep has just like deepened, or, I'm no longer so restless, or actually I just feel more refreshed when I wake up. So, so yes, it says Jackie, I get the hot flashes. And Kirsten's saying, Kate, there's a free app called Sleep Cycle, which does the same as Fitbit. Oh, that's good. I'm going to write that down. Thank you, Kirsty. What a great little resource. Thank you, honey. That's really gorgeous. And Carol's saying, I bought blackout blinds and tried to go to bed early. Perfect. Yes, so sleeping in the dark, proper dark. Yeah, definitely. Huge thing. Oops, I've got my reading face on again, as you can see. And Kate's saying that's awful to him, Margaret. Kate, it's fine. It's one of those things, but at the time you're just kind of trying to do the best you can, and we often blame ourselves, don't we? We often think like, oh, it means I'm not strong enough, I'm not, I don't know, resilient enough, robust enough, determined enough, I just need to be more organized, I need to be more disciplined. I used to tell myself all sorts of things and beat myself up so bad, but it was just overwhelm, and it just kind of, so Kate's saying my temperature is very low at around 35.7 at the moment. Interesting. Yeah, so that so Kate, in terms of checking body temperature in the mornings, I'm assuming that's a morning reading. One of the things that we use in functional medicine is this idea of the 10-day basal body temperature reading. And what that means is that first thing in the morning when you wake up, you get one of those thermometers, those old-fashioned style, not a mercury one, obviously, but those old-fashioned ones, not the digital ones that just go beep, but one of those ones that can just have the little thing that goes up slowly. Stick it under your armpit, and just before as soon as you wake up, but without getting out of bed or doing anything, so you're not, rousing your body in any way, you're just kind of sticking the temperature, the thermometer under your armpit, and just do that 10 days in a row to see what the pattern is. And if it's consistently low, I would definitely go and have your thyroid function checked at your GP's. Okay, so that's that one, but it suggests low basal metabolic rate and downregulation of the adrenal and thyroid axis. That's what it suggests. And I know Kate well enough to know that she knows exactly what I mean by that, so I'm not going to explain it too much. So Kate's saying, thank you, Kirsty. Carol's saying, it's a nightmare seeing all the eggs everywhere. Yes, all those Easter eggs. Oh my goodness. Well, I have to say, personally, I do feel very lucky. I've now been, doing Such a Sugar work for long enough. But actually, you do get to the point where you think, It's fine. Actually, it's not even a thing actually anymore, but it's taken a while to get there, I have to say, and I totally get it. I just think they look so pretty. I just love it. I bought some little Easter basket the other day because my partner, Robbie, has some grandchildren, and we weren't sure if they were going to be with us at Easter or not. And so we bought those little baskets and little Easter eggs and things to put in the garden. I always think it's very cute. So Kate said yes in the morning. Yes. So if you've done the 10 days one, Kate, and just do that and have a look to see and get that test done if necessary. So, okay. So the overwhelm side of things. So if you, now that I've just kind of described a little bit about what I mean by overwhelm, can I just kind of get a sense from you guys? So just say pop yes in the chat box if you regularly feel like overwhelm is part of your day-to-day life. I'd just be really interested to see. Kate saying, I do know what you're on about. My thyroid is low, but we'll do the basal test. Lovely, thank you. Yeah, no problem. You're really welcome. And so the thing about the thyroid test at the GPs, Kate, just as a little medical aside, is that they test the TSH and the T4, but they don't often do the T3. And so there is a company called Medichecks that will do those tests for you. So you could have the more detailed ones if you needed. But you need to know whether your T4 is converting to T3. Okay, so just having a good T4 isn't enough. And if you needed me to tell you a bit more about that, I can do that sort of separately, probably from this call. Or maybe we could have a live about thyroid function. But okay, Kate saying, yeah. David Gibson saying, yes, yeah, regularly overwhelmed. Yeah. Carrie says, yeah. Kirsty, yeah, absolutely. So I think we are a full house of yes. And I'm also a yes, because I still haven't nailed this one. But I can now honestly say that my overwhelm is totally self-induced, and it's because I just love doing what I do. And Rob, my partner, he's always saying to me, so, I think you need to slow down a bit, but I just love learning. I love, all this kind of having a good chat about all this. I love it. So Petra, hello Petra, it's my first time here and straight into overwhelm. Story of my life. Guess I'm in the right place. Petra, you're so welcome. And Rachel saying, yeah, definitely. Going, oh yes, please. Yeah, that's fine, Kate. Anytime, honey. So so the overwhelm thing. So it is a source of chronic stress. So Petra, I'm not sure if you joined us right from the start, but I'm just talking about the 5 sources of chronic stress that can get kind of stuck, that we can get, there's a chronic stress pattern that we can get stuck in, and it then starts to really impact on our health. So overwhelm is one of them. And you can see now, can't you, that I talked at the beginning about this idea of internal versus external stress. So that's kind of probably a little bit of a mixture of both, and some of it's controllable and some of it's not controllable. But if we were all to be super honest, some of it is probably of our own making. It's trying to do too much, perhaps trying to be too nice, or trying to be too many things to too many people. That's the kind of thing that also contributes, and that makes it hard. And it is hard, isn't it? And we've talked about this before, the idea of being able to say no or draw our own boundaries. So Carrie's saying, I had a thyroid test whilst pregnant. They said it was fine, and the consultant was convinced I had a problem due to look of my throat. Not sure what test they did though. Okay, that I can't quite make that one out, I have to say. So maybe he thought you had a goiter, possibly. But the thyroid does change in pregnancy, just as part of the normal pregnancy changes, because obviously you're trying to grow a baby, so your basal metabolic rate has to go faster, which is why pregnant women often feel so hot. You often see a pregnant woman in the middle of winter walking around without a coat and, no socks, and because we're so hot, because our basal metabolic rate has gone right up. So there's no doubt about it. In pregnancy, our thyroid gland works incredibly hard, but it's because it has to do more, there's more work for it to do. It has to grow a baby. So yeah. Okay, I've got my reading face on again. You guys are acing this tonight. Carol said my function was okay. A live on thyroid function would be amazing. Okay, I'm going to write it down. Okay, so I've written that down. So that's on the drawing board. Carol saying, I love our talks. And Petra saying, so true, finding it so hard to rest and relax. Okay, I'm coming on to that. And Margaret's just joined us. Hi, Margaret, gorgeous to see you. So first source of chronic stress, common cause, overwhelm. Okay, it's doing too much, being spread too thin, feeling like you failed before you've even started, feeling very scattered, the to-do list that never comes to an end. This is all overwhelm. So the next one is lack of rest. Okay, now when I'm working with my clients who struggle with severe fatigue, this is one we talk about a lot, because the thing is, when the fatigue is often a way that your body tries to protect you from doing too much. Yeah, it hasn't got the energy to spend on the extra stuff. It just needs the energy it has got to just keep your cells ticking over, keep the basic processes ticking over, and that is all the energy it's got. So it kind of literally kind of pins you down and holds you to ransom by going, right, I'm going to pull your plug out and I'm just going to not let you have any energy. And anybody who's ever had chronic fatigue who's on here, you will know exactly what I mean. It's a horrible, horrible feeling. So one of the things that we have to really learn to do, especially when we're on the journey of fatigue recovery, but actually in any health journey, is balancing up our rest with our activity. And rest, I don't even mean doing nothing. I just mean the kind of stuff that's going to restore us. So the idea that, if we're always expending our energy and giving up to other people and kind of giving outwards, versus the stuff that's going to nourish and restore us and allow us to rest. So it's both, really. The rest, that sometimes our physical rest that we need to restore our body, or sometimes it's emotional stuff that we need to restore our mind, our heart, our sense of well-being. And this lack of rest, this lack of time to attend. So this is being always on the go. I'm just looking at my notes here because I made lots. Look, I'm a big note taker. I'm a real pen and paper girl. But that always on the go, finding it hard to slow down because you get locked into being at that speed and always being on the go and the hamster wheel going, woo, but that ability just to start slowing down. And Petra has just said exactly that, finding it so hard to rest and relax. So Petra, that is you kind of starting to get locked into that chronic stress place where that is your normal. That's what your body and your mind and your heart know how to do. That's the place they know where to be, and they're kind of stuck in there. And they might be telling you, look, I feel awful here, but just being able to just pull yourself back from that. And as I said right at the beginning, sometimes we need to just be prepared to do things in small steps consistently in order to start making those changes. So, and just never having a moment to yourself or a moment's peace. If all your time is spent with people, for people, doing stuff, there's just never just time just to kind of, is it Centre Park's advert, that thing about just having time to stop and stare? I do actually like that advert because it is so true, isn't it? Like it tends to be usually on holidays we give ourselves that time. The therapeutic benefits of taking a holiday. I'm a big fan of holidays for that reason, actually. So Carol saying my menopause has caused me excited. Okay. Rachel saying, I find it so hard to practice what I preach to my colleagues about overload and overwhelm, about saying no if I feel overloaded. Yeah, so Rachel, you have just absolutely beautifully highlighted something, which is this idea that there is a vicious circle that happens around when we get into overwhelm. It becomes harder to say no. It becomes harder to maintain our own boundaries about what's really okay with us. And we tend to kind of move away from being centered and in knowing who we are, what we want, into being more scattered, and I've already talked about this idea of feeling scattered in terms of overwhelm, but actually it makes it really hard. And so Carol's saying, so yeah, Rachel, absolutely. So it does become harder, and actually, it's almost more grounds to kind of like takes 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, just to kind of redraw the lines, even just a little bit. Because sometimes just redrawing them a little bit kind of stops the vicious circle. Yeah. Carol saying, my menopause has hit me like a ton of bricks. Poor baby. Here we go. So I've got my reading face on again and my computer thingy. Petra saying, just wondered where fibromyalgia comes into this, if it does, with regards to chronic fatigue. Yeah, so fibromyalgia is a condition where there's lots and lots of research out there, lots and lots of theories about why it happens. But one of the underpinning things is that the energy production system is in our body. So I've talked about this before, that inside every single cell, we have these little organelles that are like little batteries that produce our energy. They're called mitochondria. And so one of the kind of big theories around fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue is that whatever the triggers have been, wherever the body's got out of whack, somehow or other, at the bottom end, you've ended up in a place where your mitochondria just have sort of gone, woof, and that's either because they're not getting the nutrients they need, or they're just in a toxic soup, and so they don't put out any energy. Lots of reasons, or there might be kind of chronic infections sitting underneath all of that, that's making it just, they're kind of shutting down on you. So underneath all of this, Petra, so the idea of mitochondrial dysfunction kind of sits at the root of most theories about what causes fibromyalgia. But as I say, you speak to 5 different people and you can potentially get 5 different answers to what causes fibromyalgia. But I think underneath all of it, for lots of people, why do you get all those tender points? Why do you get muscles that just fatigue so easily? Why do you get that hypersensitivity? All of that is kind of mitochondria dysfunction related. So usually if you're kind of trying to unravel that lot, so stress can be a reason for mitochondria to kind of not work so well. I'll probably talk about this in another life to see why does stress make you feel so tired, and why can it cause things like chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia. So Karen saying my memory is terrible. Okay, so yeah, in menopause sometimes that can really have a massive impact on our brain as our body's trying to find its new way with the balancing of the hormones, and the job of handing over production of estrogen and progesterone, which used to be done by our ovaries in menopause, then gets given over to our adrenals. It goes, here, the ovaries literally go, here you go, adrenal gland, you can do this extra job too now. And the adrenal glands are going, but I'm already really working hard on this chronic stress stuff. And the ovaries go, I don't care. And so you get this kind of crazy thing where adrenals that are often already maxed out hit the menopause, and my goodness, does your body let it know. And particularly for women who have a rocky ride with the menopause, certainly from a functional medicine perspective, the place where we start is adrenal support, because that's the new person, the new thing that has to now take care of balancing all these hormones. And so always start with kind of sorting out adrenals, and a lot of that starts with sorting out your chronic stress. So Carol, you're in the right place. Okay. And baby steps, she's saying, yeah, absolutely. Cool. So let me have a little look. So Nicola Jones saying, hello, hi Nicola. Jackie saying, I went to an art workshop today. It didn't really want to go, as too much to do and stress, but it was fab. Could only be in the moment and so calm right now. So that is really interesting, isn't it? So kind of deliberately kind of putting things into your diary that are going to just allow you to just zone everything else out and just focus on one thing. And how calming is it just to be allowed to focus on just one thing? Okay, I cannot emphasize the power of just doing one thing enough. In my Session Yoga program, those of you who are on my program at the moment, you will hear me saying this. I've already been banging on about it this week already. Like, just do one thing today, and then one thing tomorrow. Don't try and do it all at once. It is overwhelming. It sets off our stress responses, and actually it sucks the joy out of everything, doesn't it, when we're overwhelmed? But how can you possibly enjoy the process of something, the journey of something, if it is just completely overwhelming? It doesn't work, and you don't need to do it either. So, and Christine's saying, scattered is a good description. Sometimes I feel like I have so much to do that I don't know where to start, and it becomes less effective. Yeah, absolutely. So that is the time, Christine, where we need to do a good old brain dump. I'm going to talk about that as some of the tips that we can, some of the strategies we can use. But since you brought it up, I'm going to just mention it right here, is that when we're scattered, when we're kind of, and I do this at the beginning of every single day, I kind of go, okay, what have I got to do? And I get it all out of my head onto a piece of paper. I've already shown you, I'm a big pen and paper girl, and onto the bit of paper it goes. And then I get a some kind of color marker, and I go, okay, what absolutely has to be done today? Okay. And then I put dots next to that. And then I go, okay, what order do these things need to be done in today? And if I have time to do anything else, what could I then also do? And then suddenly you have a nice list. And I literally, And on bad days, so I have a lovely coach, business coach called Emma Holmes. And Emma Holmes, you can always look her up. In fact, I'll just type her name because she is so darn fantastic. So if any of you are ever feeling like you could do with a bit of help from a business coach, she's your girl. So Emma Holmes, what she says to me, when you get really severely into overwhelm, what you need is a stack of these Post-it notes. You take your brain dump, you take your list of things you've identified, and you literally put one on each Post-it note. So you can actually physically only see one item at a time. Okay, this is how you deal with overwhelm on a bad day. And the number of times I've had to do this sometimes because, I've been overwhelmed because I've been in fear, or I've just completely mismanaged my diary and just put too much in, or I'm in overwhelm because, I'm a terrible optimist and I have a terrible sense of how long things will take. Like my partner Robbie's always laughing at me. He said, "I can't believe you, Margaret. You're really quite an intelligent woman." Thanks. And then he says, he said, how did you think you would do this in an hour? I go, well, I don't know. It just, having an optimistic sense of time. But I actually think that's a good quality. I do, and I'm sticking by that one. So let's have a little look. So, so just doing things a bit more mindfully, and kind of just giving yourself, a chance to just do, and if necessary, put it on a Post-it note. But I personally love the thing about just crossing things off. That makes me feel really good. I love crossing things off my list. I go, it's done, and this is done. And, and actually it makes me much more productive. I get much more done if I actually do the brain dump, if I go this one, this one, this one, and this one. And I tend to do my brain dump just all over the place on a piece of paper. In fact, at some point, if we wanted to, we could even have a live on this. We could do a brain dump together, and I can show you exactly how I kind of, I'm going to write it down, overwhelm, do brain dump exercise, and show you exactly how I do it, because I do this probably most days, okay, and at the start of the day. So I kind of get myself set up, ready to do the day. And also what that happens is once you start doing that routinely, actually, you start to get a real sense of how long things actually take. So things that you need to do regularly, you stop doing the over-optimistic sense of timing thing, which I'm very guilty of, and you end up, just learning through your own kind of mistakes how long things actually take. And it's a great kind of strategy, and it's very simple and doesn't cost anything. So lack of rest. So can I just check in with you? Does anybody here, do you plan in downtime? As in actually put it in your diary, Wednesday, the whatever date of April, I'm going to have an hour off, like Jackie did today for her art course. Do any of you ever do that? Give me a yes or no in the chat box. Nicola saying, gotta love a list. Petra saying, I'm exactly like that. I always think that things would take me 20 minutes and then it's 2 hours. Petra, you and I are absolutely on the same page, honey. And, but we have to kind of work with that, don't we? And it's a great thing to be that optimistic, I think. I think it really speaks of a sort of, joyful, buoyancy kind of place. But if it drives us into overwhelm, it's sabotaging us, and we have to take care of it. And at the end of the day, only we can take care of that stuff ourselves. Carol is saying, do I journal? No. But I do think it's a great tool if it's your thing, and I have journaled in the past, but I don't. I'm much more of a brain dump list kind of girl these days, and I love it. I find I'm more creative when I just let myself just do short, sharp bits and pieces. So that's how I tend to do it. So let's have a little look. So downtime, cool. So Chris is saying, I go for a massage. That is a beautiful form of downtime. Massage is so amazing because, let me tell you, so I know we all go, yeah, fluffy massage, that's really good. But do you know what massage does? Okay, so massage stimulates the bit of our nervous system that's all about heal and repair. It's our parasympathetic nervous system, and it is gorgeous. So going for a massage, it's also very detoxifying because it starts to shift all the crap that's got stuck in our tissues, and it improves lymphatic drainage. And actually just the power of touch is so therapeutic. So whether it's a light massage or a deep massage, it's all fine. Really, really good. And I don't know if I've ever shared this with any of you guys, but actually Rob, my partner, he's a professional masseur. That's what he does for a living, and it is just amazing when I hear his stories about, you know, the healing he creates in his work. It is incredible. It's lovely. I you know, adore him for having that kind of healing kind of way of working with his work. Kate's saying, I book a massage or reflexology to get that me time. Perfect. Because sometimes, you know, the truth is, isn't it, that making an appointment with someone else to do something means we'll probably stick to it. But if we make the appointment with ourselves, like next Wednesday, I'm going to sit with a magazine for an hour and have a lovely coffee, and I'm just going to sit in the garden, and that's what I'm going to do next Wednesday at 10 o'clock. Will I do it? No, of course I won't. Because it's not the same thing, isn't it? Being accountable to someone else is a powerful thing. Okay. So making an appointment to do something, if that's what it takes for you to have downtime, please do it. Or even make an appointment with a friend, you know, to say, look, I need to go for a nice walk somewhere, get some fresh air. Will you come with me? Can we make a date? Yeah, really, really powerful. I've even had people who I've worked with make dates on the telephone and make the, you know, because they don't live near each other or they haven't got time to drive to do the journey. So they just are on the phone to each other. They're having a chat and they're going for their walk. One person in one place, one person in the other place. I think that's kind of cool because it's kind of like using technology, isn't it? It's great. So Christine's saying a massage, and Carol saying yes, an afternoon to paint. Jack is saying I've learned to and it helps so much. Yeah. And Dave's saying yes, I used to skip lunch and have it at the desk. Have it al desco. Yeah, but now I moved away from my desk and talk about work stuff. Brilliant. Yeah. So this idea of just, you know, and again, missing meals, especially where we're in a place of chronic stress and the potential that sets up for adrenal fatigue. Missing meals means our blood sugar starts to do this and your adrenals really struggle. So actually, you know, I work when I work with people who have chronic fatigue or who have adrenal kind of burn down from chronic stress or from whatever has created it for them, but often it's chronic stress. Then what happens is that, you know, they kind of go, oh, maybe I could do some intermittent fasting, or maybe I could do, you know, the 5-2, that would be good. And I'm going, no, you know, your adrenals are just going to struggle so hard. That's great when your adrenals are nice and shiny again, you know, but actually, so this is a common combination. Okay, so this might resonate for some of you. When we're very stressed, get adrenal kind of pressure, creates what we call cortisol belly. So you know that little tire you get around your middle, that cortisol belly. So that then, and then we go, oh, I need to go on a diet. I need to do intermittent fasting. I need to do the 5-2 diet. I need to do a low carb diet. And your adrenals are going, no, and it becomes a vicious cycle. So yeah, okay, I'm gabbling on and I'm not keeping up with all your beautiful comments, and you're great. So Margaret's saying, no, I'm really bad at making me time. And even when I have time, looking at things that need doing, I need to practice. So Margaret, you need to, I've got a little challenge for you. I would like you to get your diary out for the next week and find a 30-minute slot somewhere that is something you can do just for you. Okay. And I want you to just you can either let me know in the group post, or you can let me know however is comfortable. My email's at the top of my website if you want to email me about it. I really want to know. I'm going to write it down. Margaret, 30-minute me time. Okay. So I'm not going to forget. I've written it down. Margaret, I want you to get into the idea that it's okay. First of all, it's okay to plan something just for you, and that it doesn't have to be productive, okay? Because this is the other trap we get into. We go, oh yeah, I'll plan something for myself, and then I'll do something really useful, like I'll learn something new, or it's okay to just stop and stare, like the advert says. It's fine, and actually, it's really good for you. So, can you do that for me, Margaret? Or am I being too bossy? Say if I am. I'm terribly bossy, honestly. I've always struggled with being bossy. Sometimes I think I need to just shut up. Carol's saying, I massage my feet at night. Lovely. David's saying, don't talk about work. Jack is saying the biggie was learning to say no instead of yes to everything. Yeah, getting good at saying no. Dave saying, sorry, I'm a little stressed. Dave, you're here. It's fine. You are allowed to be stressed. Okay. As you've already noticed, everybody else is too. We're all scoring high on the chart today. So Justin's joined again. Reiki massage is beautiful. Yeah. So Justin's saying, so sorry I'm late, unforeseen. Well, fine, that's fine. Carol's saying, have it. Kate's saying, good to know about diets and how it affects the adrenals. Yeah, absolutely. Do not go on diets if you are suffering with chronic stress. Get the chronic stress in your adrenals sorted out first. Margaret's saying, I will. Thank you, darling. Thank you for not minding me being so bossy on this call and singling you out. But I could just kind of see, okay, Karen's saying, this is my me time. Ah, Karen, I'll be your downtime, honey. Well, that's so fun. Margaret's saying, I need a bit of bossy, permission to stop. Yes, I am officially giving you, I'm writing you a prescription, 30 minutes, needs to stop for 30 minutes and do nothing or anything at all. But you have to put it in your diary for in a few days' time, because the whole point is I don't want you to kind of come off the school and go, oh, I'll just sit now for 30 minutes and I've done it then, because that wasn't planned, that wasn't intentional, and that's not the same thing. Kind of getting used to giving yourself permission that it's okay, I can stop then. And do you know what, something I near where I live, there's a really lovely kind of spa place with a swimming pool, and for Christmas time I actually decided, right, what I'm going to give myself is a membership of this place so that I can have a swim and a relax, and at least once or twice a week. And that is what I do, and I actually plan it in my diary. Now sometimes stuff comes up and I do have to let go of it, but then I do actually consciously check in with myself. Am I okay with letting go of this? And can I read, so that I give myself what I need, because I do need that. And Margaret, it's so easy just to kind of override it, and that's a habit that lots of us have. Okay, Liz is saying, thank you for sharing your knowledge with us. Really appreciate it. Oh, Lizzie, you're so welcome. So I hope I'm not being too personal this evening, but sometimes it's just nice to know, isn't it, that like we all do this stuff, Like I said in the intro, no one is immune, and we all do it. Just to say, I had to start learning new ways to reduce my stress levels. Chronic stress was at the root of my high blood pressure. Yeah, exactly. So I love an Epsom salt and lavender essential oil bath while listening to relaxing music. That is gorgeous. So having those kind of routines, and that's a 20-minute thing, or longer if you want, but it doesn't need to take acres of time. So lovely. And Corinne has just joined. Hi, Corinne. Gorgeous to see you. So, okay. So the next one is that, and I'm conscious that we said we would be on here for an hour, and we've got to the second one out of 5. Okay, number 3. So I'm just going to kind of quickly go through these, because I do really want to give you all some active sort of points that you could do. But actually, I think we've all already got a lot from this call. So if it means we have to, and then what I'll do is at some point I'll pop a blog through about all of this lot, so you'll get it that way. The Petra saying, I really struggle with downtime or even giving myself permission to badly need to, but it's that hamster wheel that is so hard to come off. I had chronic stress for years, so really need to nip it in the bud. Yeah, absolutely. So Petra, I'm not sure if you were part of the call when I was talking earlier about, how I had to learn this the hard way. I completely got this one wrong. Years of chronic stress, various bits and pieces. And actually, the way I responded to it was just to kind of knuckle down and tough it out and just work even harder and feel, and the fact that underneath it all, it made me feel really depressed. And I just kept thinking, come on, you just be grateful. I kept telling myself I had to be grateful for, the lovely, that I had a beautiful daughter and that I had a house to live in and I had a job that was interesting to do. I should be grateful. I used to keep telling myself, I should. So actually, that brings us on to point number 4, which was around the not feeling good enough, feeling not good enough. And this is a big internal source of stress for lots of us. So the idea of a source of chronic stress that's internally driven is often generated by our own expectations of what's okay and what's not, and what we should be like and what's not up to scratch. So this is stuff that we tell ourselves. So this is things like, I'm not good enough. I should. I should be working harder. I should be trying harder. I should be more organized. I should know how to do this. And again, those of you who are currently on Session Sugar, you will know exactly what I'm talking about, because we've been talking about all of this stuff this week already. But that internal stress driver of I'm not good enough, I'm not up to scratch, I'm not doing it well enough, I should be better, brighter, more intelligent, more productive, more blah, all that stuff. It's internal stress. And actually, you know, it's often driven by our own expectations of where we set our benchmark. And, you know, sometimes we have to be prepared to go, do you know what, I'm just going to have to reset that benchmark, because at the moment that is like kind of totally pulling me down, and I have to build it up again. So, you know, lowering your expectations sometimes is actually a really positive strategy, and lowering the benchmark and going, okay, that's my new benchmark. When I hit that, then I'm going to notch it up again. But that's sometimes really important. So just to say, yeah, I do it regularly, make sure I schedule it in as often as I need it. Yeah, so scheduling things in, really, really important. And Margaret's saying, I think it's a hangover from being a mom. My children are growing up. Prioritizing others first. Margaret, yes, yes, yes. So this thing about, you know, it's all about everybody else's needs first, and kind of, you know, like your own needs, yeah, you know, they're there. Yeah, sure. You know, if you stop to think about it, yeah, they're important. But it's that habit of always looking at what does everybody else need, and only when no one else needs anything from you and they're all fine, that's when you get to have downtime, and it doesn't work. Yeah, so that's a really, really big one. Love that you've brought that up. Carol saying, I get up and do some meditation and yoga as you carry a lot of stress in your body. We do carry a lot of stress in our body. And again, it's another reason why massage is so good, but also why things like sometimes just dancing around like a crazy one, just dissipating that kind of tension is really, really good. Just as saying, being a single mom brought it on for me, along with the struggles that brings the guilt of doing something myself, or being too tired to do anything but expect myself to fall into bed. Yeah, Justin, you and I both got that t-shirt. The lovely journey of single parenthood. Woo-hoo. But then actually, to be fair, I think lots of my friends at the time, although they were technically married, you know, and for all sorts of reasons, they were effectively single parenting just as much as I was. I think the only thing that was different is I really was the sole breadwinner, and I found that really, really hard, as well as trying to be mummy and daddy and everything, and housekeeper and worker and person, and you know, it was tall order, definitely. So I've got my reading face on again. Tracy's just joined us. Hi, Tracy. And Justin saying, Carol, you do indeed. Sometimes I've learned the hard way. Fantastic. So Margaret saying, I think stress and overwork is seriously health damaging and may have contributed to me getting breast cancer a few years ago. Yeah, it's hard. You know, I guess we couldn't honestly ever say this caused that. You know, it's not a direct like this happened and then therefore that was the result. But it is the case that chronic stress definitely pulls down your adrenal glands. It pulls down your ability to heal and repair yourself. And I'm going to do a big session on this. Actually, I'm just going to write that down. This idea of, so very quickly, acute stress response, if it goes on for a long time, becomes chronic stress response, which is adrenal glands and cortisol. But the acute stress response is kind of fight, flight, and the opposite is parasympathetic. And it's in parasympathetic that we do our heal and repair. And one of the things that I work with people over and over again, whether we've got chronic fatigue, whether we've got autoimmune disease, whether we've had cancer or got cancer, the thing we have to do is to pull that back and get into heal and repair. If we don't get into heal and repair, the body literally can't heal and repair. Okay, so it's one of the key pieces, you know, in the context of this conversation. Of course, there are other things too. There's more to it than that. But getting into heal and repair, getting into parasympathetic. And if you're not sure what I'm talking about, I'm just going to write parasympathetic, and you can look it up. But I am going to, in the next few weeks or so, because as I say, I kind of thought today it would be really good. Oh, here we go. Parasympathetic, heal and repair. That's the thing you really want to get into. So anybody who's had serious health issues, and you know, I hold my hand up in that as well, you have to look after your parasympathetic. It's so important. You cannot heal and repair from a place of acute stress or chronic stress. Not possible. The body is not designed to do it. Okay. So, okay, so just to qualify, that doesn't mean to say that any treatments you might be going are going to be ineffective, but in terms of the self-healing and activating that, you need to do the heal and repair, the parasympathetic work. So Margaret said, yeah, and just my thoughts, I'm trying not to fall back into the trap. You are reminding me I matter and need to relax. You so matter, Margaret. Absolutely, absolutely. So just to say, I put so much pressure on myself to do everything and to get it right to my own detriment. Exactly. So, you know, being a perfectionist or putting pressure on yourself, that, you know, this is another version of the not good enough, really, isn't it, that we've just talked about, Justine? It's about the idea that, you know, if it doesn't look like this by the end of the day, then it's not good enough. You know, and it's a form of internal chronic stress. So Beautiful. So Caroline, hello Caroline. I clean to get rid of stress and anxiety. Oh, that's really fun. Yeah, yeah. And then you kind of get the nice benefit, side effect of a nice clean house too. But it is, it's like that feathering your nest idea, isn't it? It's like that nurture of your environment. Can be incredibly therapeutic. So I love that. Diary's out now and 30 minutes are booked. Woohoo! Cool. So I love that. Okay, so that's and breathing properly. Absolutely, absolutely. So, okay, so the 5 things, I'm just going to, because I know we're kind of getting a little bit, so was overwhelm, lack of rest, giving yourself permission to take rest, giving yourself permission to get out of overwhelm, either by doing a brain dump and prioritizing or planning, getting clarity around what's really important, what's not, all that stuff. Constant worry, which we didn't really talk about, but we've kind of talked around it. This idea of just things just going round and round and round in your thoughts, playing a conversation over and over in your mind, can't stop thinking about things, can't turn your head off. I have a really great friend called Anya Stoddart who runs a 10-day meditation course, and when she launches it online, I'm going to ask her to come in here and do a live for us all and tell us all about it, because she is such a gifted teacher. She is so knowledgeable, and it's beautiful work that she does. So I'm going to invite her into this group when she's ready to kind of launch her thing, and then she can tell us all about it and we can all do it together. That would be fun, wouldn't it? So cool. So there's the feeling not good enough, which we talked about, and then there's a loss of any kind. So they're the 5 kind of things. So loss could be, like loss of your role, like say, as a mum or a dad, when your kids leave home and there's that kind of whole empty nest thing. Could be loss of position, could be loss of opportunity, could be loss of your health. But losing things really, and having to cope with that change, really, really, really big source of chronic stress. And lots of us get stuck in those things, and we never reconcile ourselves with it, and it kind of can really create loads and loads and loads of stress. So just to give you an example, I was working with a lady the other day who she'd been a really high-powered kind of right high up in her profession. She'd then, in her 30s, had gone to have 2 young children, and she said, and they were like, kind of at school, at junior school age kind of things. And, she said, I just feel like I'm a failure at work and I'm a failure at home, and it is so stressful. I just can't seem to get on top of anything. I never seem to be good enough for whatever I do. And, I'm no good at either at my work or at my job. But what she hadn't done was kind of reconcile that actually her role had changed. So she was going back to her job, which she used to do full-time and some, and was now doing it part-time, and feeling like she wasn't good enough. And it was causing her stupid amounts of stress because she hadn't redrawn the boundaries. She hadn't redrawn the idea that actually, this is not the same as it was before. Her role had changed, and she was kind of grieving for it really, and had to kind of come around full circle. And then once she kind of got herself clear about what does it look like to do this to a good enough level now, once we'd kind of worked through that, actually suddenly she was like, you could just see the stress just falling off her body. It was a great coaching session. And, I think, for her, it really kind of, you could just see in her whole demeanor, it just sort of opened up like, okay, I'm allowed to do it this way now. I used to do it this way, but now I'm allowed to do it this way, and it's still fine. Okay. So, Justin says, yeah, money worries are absolute worst for perpetual worry. Absolutely. Yeah. So there's that. That's a huge, huge one. So cool. Job and health. I'm just picking up, I've got my reading face on again, as you can see. Just in saying, I felt completely lost when all my children became adults, and it took a while of wandering around trying to figure out what my job was now. And then I learned that my job now was taking care of me. Yes, I like that one a lot. Cool. So I hope we're okay if we go over in a few more minutes, because I did say it would be an hour, and I'm conscious I'm taking up more of your time than I said I would. And we've sort of gone into lots of these things already. But I just wanted to give you kind of 5 quick tips on kind of how to kind of start to turn things around. Some of them you might think, well, is that really going to help? But as I said at the beginning, if you keep doing this, keep doing what you always did, you will get what you always got. If you're prepared to just make a 2-degree shift, by tomorrow, it might not look that different. By next week, it might not look that different still. But by next month, by 3 months, you're talking about this kind of shift. And that is significant. So you don't need to feel like it's going to take moving mountains to start actually making an impact on how you're feeling right now. It really doesn't need huge actions, huge changes. just little strategies, but pick the one that's going to work for you. Pick one. Okay, so here we go. So the idea about the kind of understanding that it is important to fill your own cup first. So this is what someone was saying earlier on about, always looking after the needs of others and not attending to your own needs. But actually, we do need to fill our own cup, our own heart, our own sense of well-being in order to be able to be loving, giving, caring human beings who are fully showing up in life. It's so important. If you try to give to your children, to your job, to people who need you, who want you, if you try to give from a place of an empty, kind of depleted, kind of worn out space, it's not going to happen, and it's not going to fulfill you actually. So, okay. So learning the importance of filling your own cup, and what could that look like for you? So we've already talked about a few things. Like for Margaret, we said, okay, pop 30 minutes in your diary sometime in the next week or so, and let's just see what that's like. Just choosing to do something just for you. Really, really cool. Secondly, watch the self-talk. This is the I should be like this. It's, I'm not good enough. I need to be more ... That internal self-talk. Really, really big one. So just start seeing if you can notice it. And this is actually exactly the work that we're doing in Sasha Sugar this week, is the noticing of the self-talk. Big piece, big shift. Once you start to spot it, you'll quickly, it's one of those things that you think, oh, I don't know, what am I doing? Once you start to get good at spotting it, you'll suddenly realize, and then all the dominoes start to fall over and you think, oh my God, So just start watching the self-talk, start noticing them. Thirdly, the overwhelm thing. Okay, so brain dump, prioritize. So this is about getting clarity around what are your priorities for that day, that week, that month, whatever level you need to plan it on. Plan it, including planning time off for you. Okay, even if it is just 10 minutes, it's still time for you. Important. Little steps is fine. Okay, so getting out of overwhelm is planning, clarity, and then pacing it. And this is about what we were saying earlier on about just getting good at working out how long things really take so that you have a realistic sense of that. So you're not setting yourself up for overwhelm again. And so that is everything I think I needed to kind of was wanting. That's me, everything on my piece of paper. I have now told you. So I am super, super grateful to you all for being here live tonight. It has been such a gorgeous session, so much fun. Christine's saying, I'm learning to switch off your brain when you lie down at night. If only you could. Okay, so Christine, there is a little tool for that called, so learning to switch off your brain when you lie down at night it's something that we have to learn to do. I don't think anybody does it naturally, really. But it is a skill that we can cultivate. And again, it's not an overnight miracle waving of the magic wand, but the first step I always say to people is start learning how to switch off your body, and then your mind will follow. Okay. And switching off your body, just actually doing a physical kind of, you can do these kind of body scans, can't you? Like from your feet up to your head. I think it's called autogenic training. Let me put that into the autogenic training. I'm sure if you YouTube that, have I spelled it correct? Yeah. If you YouTube that, there will be things about that on there. They're like a guided autogenic training. If you pick one that's like 5 or 10 minutes long and practice it, something like early afternoon. Yeah, so well away from bedtime. So there's no pressure on you to, I must relax, because there's no surefire way to get tense, to tell yourself, I must relax, and I'm not doing it, and oh my God, I'm a failure. That's not going to work. So learn the skill of relaxing your body away from bedtime. And then over time, what will start to happen when you just kind of get really good at that, and it kind of becomes second nature, and it probably take you a week or two. It doesn't take hugely long. Then actually you'll start to be able to do it at bedtime. It's switching off your body, and often then the mind will follow. Okay, so that might be something you could have a go with. So Jackie's saying, thank you very much, great session. You're so welcome, Jackie, and it's gorgeous to have you on here. Justin saying, I have a routine that leads me into switching off when I lay down. It helps a lot. Yeah, so Justin, that's a great one. And I'm just having a look. So Christine and Justine, you might want to swap notes on that one. And if you wanted to, so if you want to post things into this group, use this page to kind of share these kinds of tips, you are very, very welcome to do it. You know, I think in the main, it's me who does the posting, but you are most welcome if you feel that something, you know, we've talked about on a live and you think it would be a valuable resource, like the sleep cycle app that someone mentioned. You know, if you could pop that into the group and just say, hey, everyone, you know, I've just found this really great app that lets you work out, you know, monitor your sleep. I'm going to download it tonight. I'm going to try it. You know, let's just all try it. These kind of things, this is the kind of the reason why we have this group, you know, to have this community where we can all support each other, have the best health we can be. So it's a great thing. So please don't feel shy about putting that stuff in here. I think Jackie the other day, you posted the thing in there, didn't you, Jackie? And it was really great. And Jackie very politely emailed me and said, you know, would you like to share this in your group? And I kind of said to her, why don't you share it? It's your group too, you know, so I'm really happy for you to do that. So yeah, so that we get a nice vibrant group really. And Petra is saying, I found a good yoga nidra practice also on YouTube for this. Perfect. So can we put some of those resources into the group? Are you guys happy to do that? Or is that too scary? So it sounds like Justine and Petra both have got some really good resources there. And, you know, it sounds like certainly would help Christine. I'm sure it would help lots and lots of other people too. Lisa Lott saying, thank you so much. You're so welcome. Yoga Nidra, free app, Insight Timer is brilliant. So let's get these resources posted up into the group. In fact, I'm going to do a call out and I'll do sleep and relaxation resources. Yeah, so you feel absolutely, honestly, I can't warmly invite you enough to, you know, just feel free to share that stuff because it's invaluable. You know, how can any of us find all this stuff out by ourselves? You know, there's too much stuff out there. We need each other, you know, it's important. Sally's saying, I've just joined in the last 10 minutes, really helpful, thank you. Autogenic training really helps. So Sally, you have experience of autogenic training. That sounds great. I've used it lots too. I had to teach myself how to physically relax before I could learn to mentally relax, and it was incredibly powerful. And a body scan meditation. Chris is saying, thank you. Rachel, you're so welcome. So everybody's saying, thank you so much. The sound of the sea and the rain, yeah, that's a lovely one. And Margaret's asking, is it like meditating? No, it's not. And this is actually one of the reasons why it's very powerful, because I think for a lot of people when we're quite wired, trying to go straight from being wired into meditating, for some of us, is just too much. I know it was for me for a long time. I can do it now and I really enjoy meditating now, but it took me a long time. Going from wired into meditation, it's a really hard step to make. And sometimes you kind of need to put a few stepping stones in between, like, you know, relaxing your body before you can relax your mind, so that you get used to that kind of downtime and just that sort of softening and that just sort of, you know, moving into a different space. And just to learn how to do that is already, you know, big thing. So you guys are coming thick and fast with your comments. I'm not keeping up. I'm so sorry. I'm doing a rubbish job here. Marion's just joined. Hello, Marion. Carol saying more tools. Absolutely. Dave saying, thank you. Loved your energy. Sorry, I've just called you Dave. That's very informal of me. David. Fantastic. No, you're so welcome. Petra's saying, absolutely. Carol saying, headspace, herbal remedies. Brilliant. Let's share some of these resources. In fact, what I'll do is I'll pop a thread in there saying, you know, after our live this evening, for those of you who'd love to share some resources around things like relaxation techniques, some apps, whatever, so then you feel you've kind of got permission. But in general, you really do have permission. Okay, so Rachel saying she uses Headspace too. Both are free apps. Yeah, there's so many great free resources out there, isn't it? And it's lovely, and it really, you know, anything to help. So I've got my reading face on again because my computer mousey thing is kind of being a bit weird, and it's not letting me scroll down. Here we go. Wonderful. And just people saying you find out what I do, but trial and error. Yeah, so sometimes you just have to find the thing that's for you. Sally's saying I came across it by accident. The honest guys do one which really works. Wonderful. Brilliant. Lovely. So I can see lots of you being replying and responding to each other and so on. It's just really, really lovely. So it's been an absolutely gorgeous session. I've got one more thing to ask you all. I'm kind of, because all this stress stuff is sort of so, what I wanted to do is, I'm thinking of, you know, how I created, for those of you who've done it, the Such a Sugar Live Your Life course, but I'm thinking about perhaps offering or putting together a course that's really around the stress stuff and adrenal support and all the things that we can do to start helping ourselves and improve sleep and all of that. I'm contemplating it at the moment. We're in the planning stages, and what I was thought I might do is put together like a little survey into this group that if some, you know, maybe just 10 questions just to tick yes or no or pop some numbers in a book. Would you guys be happy to do that? Would that be okay? I don't want to just kind of assume, but that would be really good because it would just get me a sense of what would be most helpful, most powerful, most impactful for you. Carol's saying, I have a fur baby who helps me with my exercise. Oh, lovely. Doing some stretches is really great. I would so love it. Brilliant. Just found some autogenic Jane on YouTube. Margaret, you are swift. Cool. Okay, good. So yes, and yes. Justine say, oh, cool. Go. Okay, well, what I'll do is I'll go ahead and put that together. And I'll probably have that ready sort of early next week or so, and just pop that out there and just, you know, ask you all just to take 5 minutes. I'll probably run a little competition with it or so, something, offer you, you know, something in exchange for your valuable time to just come and do my little survey for me about the stress stuff and what might be helpful. So Kate's saying yes. Sandrine's just joined. Hi, Sandrine. So lovely to see you. And Grace is saying definitely. Yep. Cool. Okay. So, oh, lovely. Thank you so much, guys. So be good to do that. Lovely. Okay, cool. So I think we will wrap up because we have gone way over time, and you know, I do want to make sure that that I do what I say I'm going to do, so and be in integrity around that. So cool. So we will hopefully speak next week at some point. I haven't quite decided which evening we're going to do our live on next week, but I'm sure we'll have one. So I really look forward to seeing you all then. In the meantime, feel absolutely free to invite, you know, nice people that you know to come and join this group. Invite them to come and watch this video. You can watch this session now on replay. It'll be available 5 or 10 minutes after we've wrapped up. And so do, you know, let's keep growing the tribe. Let's keep sharing, you know, make this a really, really vibrant place that's really empowering. So Petra's saying, can absolutely answer some questions. However, I think for me, I would need a lot more personal approach. So might reach out in the near future. Petra, that's absolutely fine. I do lots and lots of kind of coaching work. So that would be absolutely perfect. And it'd be really fun. So Carol's saying, no, everyone, hope you all managed to sleep. Margaret saying, this has been so cool tonight, really helpful. Great. Okay, so we're going to say thank you. Good night to you all. And I will speak really, really soon. Take care. Bye.